Hi there, it's Sarah from Inspire Tarot. Welcome to the channel. Let's see what message Spirit has for us today. The Four of Swords. And the Nine of Pentacles. So these two cards together suggest that part of being our radiant self means that we need to rest and we need to recuperate and we need to integrate. Sometimes this feels good and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes we really want to rest and we're quite happy to just switch off and rest and take time to ourselves. And other times it feels uncomfortable and we just kind of want to be go, go, go. So we really need to be attuned to what we need. And I know in the past, or with myself and various other people, if the spirit wants us to slow down, then we might sustain an accident, we might get a broken arm or something like that. Or something will happen where we become ill or something, and it's essentially to force us to rest, to get us to slow down and recharge and regain our perspective. Sometimes we just need to meditate if we feel overwhelmed. So yeah, we need to pause and reflect. And the Nine of Pentacles card is all about inner fulfillment and inner peace. So we need a healthy dose of rest and relaxation with whatever it is we're doing in life. We feel very, we just feel more congruent when we're more in tune with ourselves. And I know when you look at cats and all they do is eat, sleep, run around and like to be loved. They have a very simple life. And they seem to attract people caring for them just effortlessly. And they just have a very simple life. They know what they want. I know with my cats that they do what they want. You can't control them. I think that's one of the things I like about them. Because I'm very similar to them in that way. In that they're just happy. They know who they are. They know what they want. They know they're worthy. And yeah, they just embrace it all the time. So Nine of Pentacles energy is just a state of independence where we know our worth and we're radiating joy. And part of that joy and that success is being able to rest when we need it. And rest can be enjoyable. I love resting. I spent yesterday afternoon in the garden in the sun. The Knight of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles. Moving these over slightly. So the Knight of Pentacles energy is very slow moving, very dedicated and patient. So I feel very much as though this reading is just kind of reminding us to slow down and that good things take time. And the ego is always wanting us to be busy, and we feel as if we're not being productive, then we're not doing the right thing. But quite often when we're not being materially or physically productive, then we are being mentally productive, we are healing. And this is what the spirit wants for us. So the Knight of Pentacles energy is very much about being persevering and being very steady and mindful and grounded and just consistently faithful. And the Queen of Pentacles this energy is very grounded as well, very patient and consistent. The Queen of Pentacles she just loves to be in the physical world. She's very comfortable in the physical world. One thing I noticed yesterday is that we had some decking which was starting to look a bit rotten, and for a long time I just was thinking about repairing it, and then all of a sudden the inclination come to just rip it up. My son came home from work yesterday and I said, can I borrow your tools? I'm gonna take the decking up. And he just did it in a flash. He just pulled it all up. And I like being spontaneous like that. I like just cracking on with something when you feel the urge to do it. And the Queen of Pentacles is very comfortable in that realm. She's just, yeah, she'll just crack on with anything that she feels inspired to do. Anything that makes living more comfortable. So improving the home or doing some sort of project that's going to make life better and more comfortable for people. So with these cards together, it's just very much showing us that we need to, yeah, that part of growing our independence and feeling good about ourselves and becoming more resilient and strong means that we need a healthy dose of rest time and to do things that we feel inspired to do, and to allow all of it and know that it's all part of the plan. And we can't be on the go all of the time. We do need some time to rest and contemplate and take care of ourselves. And taking care of ourselves will take on different meanings at different times. The more we love ourselves, the more we'll care for ourselves in a completely different kind of way. So it's always shifting. The High Priestess. The High Priestess card is all about being in touch with our intuition and understanding that life is, but our journey here is all about healing the mind and accepting the atonement. And all of the things that we do are part of our healing. So whenever we're involved in projects, that's part of our healing. Whenever we're resting, it's part of our healing. And we definitely go through cycles and ebb and flow on our spiritual journey. And the High Priestess is just reminding us that all of it is helpful. And we're just always becoming more in tune with who we are and what we want. We refine it over and over. The Devil. Wow, that's a bright card. The Devil is about the ego or the shadow. And we need to burn through the shadow in order to become more self-actualized, more in tune with our higher self. The High Priestess and the Devil kind of depict that inner work that we need to do, that we need to face ourselves and look at ourselves. So to me, this looks as though we need to look at our beliefs about feeling like we're being lazy whenever we rest, and not be productive, and be accepting of ourself as we grow and change. That our self-concept is going to shift over time. It's always being refined. And I think of this as taking more in. So we know, I think it was a famous Rumi quote where he said that we just need to remove the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, because love is always there. And it may feel as though love and abundance is not always there, but it is always there. And the Spirit's always helping us refine that and bring things in. So we need to have a healthy dose of looking at ourselves all of the time, looking at our shadows and refining what we're worth. The Spirit wants us to understand that we're worth everything, but just to become very anchored within rather than too overly materialistic. But then we can enjoy the material. So it's a fine balance, and the Spirit is always helping us and giving us opportunities to figure out. Because as humans, we're kind of addicted to the physicality, whereas the Spirit knows that the physicality doesn't really exist, isn't really anything, and just uses the physicality as a vehicle for our healing, and knows that the changes at the mind level are the only really important thing. So the Strength card coming in, it just shows us how determined we need to be. It's that quiet strength, that persistence and resilience within us to face the trials of life and go through the challenges and the darkness. And every time we do, we feel fortified, we feel strong and happy, and we've burnt away a little bit more of the shadow and the ego. So we're always getting stronger. This is one thing that I love about the spiritual journey, is that we can't go backwards. And sometimes it feels as if we're going backwards. The ego is always trying to convince us that we're going nowhere or we're going backwards. But that's usually when we're going forwards in consciousness the most, metaphorically. So the Strength card is just reminding us to stay determined, and just work on our resilience and our persistence in a very calm and composed state. And just be brave and compassionate with ourselves as we grow in confidence, and forgive ourselves any seeming mishaps that we have along the way, because they're all helpful. They're all helping to refine us all the time. Page of Pentacles. So yeah, this card is all about learning. The Page of Pentacles resembles the student, the truth seeker. And this part of us is very growth oriented, very curious, and just wants to go deeper and deeper into the mystery, and learn to awaken. And we need constant reminders about how to stay right-minded, because the ego is constantly pulling us off track. And the Page of Pentacles is very diligent and focused on surrounding him or herself with information that's helpful. I know that on all the different social platforms I follow, everything, or most of the things I follow, are to do with like spirituality or development, transformation. And it's good to fill our mind with everything. And at one point I used to think, I've seen all this stuff over and over again, and it used to frustrate me. But then I thought, actually, we're just completely saturating ourselves in helpful information and truth, which is what we need to do over and over. And the Page of Pentacles energy knows this, understands that we need to be in this tabula rasa state of mind in order to feel that inner fulfillment. We need to clear and trust in the moment, trust the spirit, and try not to rely on our past experiences, because if they were distorted, then they're just going to pollute our present. So yeah, and it's comfortable. The Page of Pentacles is all about making steady progress, and so is the Knight. They both tie in together. So yeah, whatever it is that we're working on, we can just keep chipping away at it, because we're always learning and growing and refining what feels good, what doesn't feel good, what works, what doesn't work. And what works for us one day won't work for us the next day. There's no hard and fast rule when it comes to how we apply the teachings. I find that it's highly intuitive and it's highly dependent on the circumstances. And that's one of the exciting and interesting things about life. If we just applied a blanket approach to everything, it would be boring and there'd be no growth. So the Four of Pentacles is a state of just being overly attached to the 3D. So the Spirit is constantly showing us that the 3D is just a vehicle, just a prop for our healing. And to trust that everything that we need will come in and go out. It's helping us see that proper flow of resources, of money, of opportunities and things that we need. We don't need to hoard them. And we can see how much our trust is developing as we kind of let things happen and just trust that everything that's happening is happening for our highest good, and that we're always being refined, and that we should try not to be resistant to change, because change is something that is always going to happen on this planet, and it's something that's good for us. It stops us from stagnating. And sometimes we can think, oh, I don't like change, I just like to keep things the same, but that's always a fearful perspective. And I think everyone wants a fulfilling and varied life, if the truth be told, if they were certainly coming from their higher self. So the Empress aspect of us is very allowing and abundant. She's mastered and understands that we're sustained by the love of God, and that all things are provided as and when they're needed, And if we feel like they're not being provided, then they're obviously not required. Maybe it's this Four of Swords, this resting and recuperation that's what's needed. So we really need to trust that what's given is what's right for us. And whenever we think that we need to control it or it needs to be different, then we know that we've fallen back into the ego. But the Empress, yeah, she's constantly refining herself, constantly going through rebirth and becoming more and more receptive, more nurturing, more allowing, more in that flow state, more able to relax, just experiencing life in a more effortless way. So yeah, able to be more loving. Page of Cups energy is about an innocent enthusiasm. The Page of Cups is very in touch with their feelings. We're very in touch with ourselves. We're very much in our creative flow. This is one of the things about the Empress. It's about being creative. And the Page of Cups is I would say, like an innocent kind of creativity and love that's untainted. So to me, this kind of ties in with the Page of Pentacles, which is whenever we have a page, we have a young or an immature aspect of the suit. And the Page of Cups is kind of young in expression of creativity and love. And sometimes that's good, and in some ways that's good, in that we're very trusting and very uninhibited, and in other ways it can be kind of naive and childlike. So it's up to us to negotiate the journey with the spirit and just allow things to grow and develop as they do. The Sun. Sweet. Another thing that's just coming through about the Page of Cups is that we're remembering that we're a child of God, and that we can be innocent, and that we don't really need to do anything. We just need to surrender to the fact that we're taken care of, and that we're loved, and that we are God's beloved child, or God's beloved son. And then this different kind of Sun card coming out just to remind us of the benevolence of ourselves and of God and of the spiritual journey, and just how fun, just how the Sun, so the Sun is a card that shows us about our benevolence and our abundance. I would say the Sun card kind of is a reflection of our highest state. We're filled with joy, we're filled with radiance and abundance, we're very much in flow with the universe, and we're just giving. We're very grateful, feeling very confident and expansive. And we also understand that all of the states that we go through, the difficult ones, the heavier ones, and then the lighter ones, the learning, feeling naive, feeling confident, it's all part of our journey, strengthening us and teaching us forgiveness of self and other. And we can just be very happy that the sun shines down on us metaphorically all the time. God is flowing love to us all the time, and it's just down to us to drop our shields bit by bit and let more and more love in, because love can feel uncomfortable to us. And of course it says that we have a fear of redemption, and that we think that we're not afraid of love, but we have a huge fear of love. If we didn't, we wouldn't be here. And that we're slowly progressing and learning through the trials and tribulations and joys of life to shine our light and be as good as God wants us to be. Okay, that's my reading for today. Love you all. Bye.